So one of the objections that I've heard about student-managed learning organizations in general is that, oh, if you give control to the students, they're just going to goof off and they're not going to do anything. Based on your experience in XP, what do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous. For me personally, I mean, I don't know for everyone. I think the majority of our class, I would say that there was 2 people, maybe 3 people that didn't try as hard. And I can't say that for certain, but I think everyone else in this class worked, you know, a lot harder than they would in any other class. And I know personally, for me, I did work. I worked harder for this, I think, than any class I've taken in college, because it was for my own benefit, is how I felt about it. You know, along with the structure and, you know, how it, you know, it like forces you, you know, to try and be your best is what it did for me, you know, because I did want to be a leader or whatever for the class, so.
I think the fact that most of the people chose to take this class and weren't forced to through requirements, that and a lot of the students are people coming back from industry or getting their masters or something, and you know they chose to come back to school and they want to learn, and so they made an effort to do that, and having the ability to change a class to things you want to learn allows the students to pursue that. So if someone wants to be here, they're not going to start goofing off because they're paying for this and they want to get something out of it, so they will participate.
So what is it about being forced to do things that makes you not be engaged or goof off or whatever?
Well, when you're forced to do something, usually you'll just try to skate by and do the minimum that you need to get by because you're just there for someone else's reasons. But if you choose to take this class or you choose to come back to school, you're there for a reason, to get a better job or to learn how to do something. And you'll need those skills, and if not, you're just wasting your time, and you know that. But if you are just trying to get through a class that year was a requirement, then you might just try to do the minimum to lessen the time that class takes.
So the hypothesis that I'm hearing in that and that was raised is that when you're forced to do something, you become less engaged, and because you have a lot of control, student control of the organization, in fact, that makes people more engaged in the class. Is that?
I would absolutely agree with that.
I agree with that because the class instills, if someone isn't pulling their own weight, then they get ranked lower, which in technical theory reflects back on their grades. But I think people want to strive to succeed and better with this material that they're really engaged in. And I know from personal experience, I've tried a lot harder in this class than most classes because I like this class. And the material that I've learned in this class is so much more interesting than I've received in some other core classes.
I think another thing is, since we're responsible for each other's learning, if you're not contributing to that, then you're pretty much hurting other people's learning, and just that peer pressure of them, you know, calling you out, saying you're not pulling your weight, you're hurting our class, motivates people to get their work done.
No, and I would go to say that the more freedom you have, the more people would learn. You know, like even, I know that you didn't, you know, get into the class a lot, but a lot of the people in here felt like, oh, if I do this or I say that, you know, that in the end he is grading me, so, you know, whatever. Whereas, like, you know, if me and 5 people, you know, are coming together to study something and one person just continually does nothing, you know, I would definitely call them out on that. I'd be like, you're not doing anything, you know. I don't know, So I would say that the more freedom people have, the harder they would work. You know?
And especially, I think if it's the core material that they're here to learn and study that they have interest in, absolutely. Yeah, I think they would try a lot harder. And I guess it's the bias, the judgmental things that the other professors or whoever end up in the real world makes these decisions not to do classes like this are missing out on.
What you said is definitely in line, Andrew, with what the research says. The research says if you give people grades and try to force them to meet the grade, then they're going to end up not learning as much. And so that's because they're more concerned about getting a grade.
Yeah.
Or they're more concerned about whatever the person that is in charge of giving the grade out thinks, instead of focusing on the learning.
Usually, there's a set of key concepts that a professor posts before every test. You need to know this, and this, and this, and this, and this to succeed in my test. Okay, so you go back and look at this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then what happens at the end of the test? You forget it all. And that's been my experience. You don't forget all of it, of course, but like the majority of the material that you didn't find interesting at all to yourself personally, you will kind of set back to the back of your mind. And then, but with a class like this, when we are in controlling the learning in this class and what we're presenting to other students, they are more engaged, and as presenters, we're more engaged in teaching to them.
And presenters presented about things that people didn't understand, and things that people found it. That was supposed to be, for every presentation, the focus of the presentation. So I think that was important, how quick you get that feedback, whereas with a normal classroom, someone could answer, like, I don't know how many times I've asked teachers a question, or I've said, like, I can do it this way, but I can't do it that way. Could you show me how to do it this way? And they'll do what I just said that I could do. And they'll ask me, have I answered your question? And it's pretty hard when that's your teacher to go, no, you didn't. You just did exactly what I told you. So I thought that was really important that we were very tied to what the class wanted. And if you didn't do what the class wanted, your rankings would suffer.
Your rankings would suffer, but then I felt that if we were struggling, that there were other people here to back us up.
Right.
And that's what I relied on our RTF group for. They did back me up on some of the material.